Hi, I'm Travis Erickson with Fab 5 Bling, Teresa's husband, and today we're going to show you how to build these cases that just fold up. You can put all your jewelry in them, take it to or from the shows. These particular cases are going to be 24 by 42. They're for your longer necklaces or for stacking more stuff in. So very simple, go to Lowe's. This is just 1x2. Very common lumber they have there. Just make sure what you buy is straight. And then we have this pegboard. It's the thinner kind of pegboard, so it's not terribly heavy. You can get Lowe's to cut it. They have a saw there. It's not exactly precise, but these don't necessarily have to be exactly precise. And then of course I've pre-cut all of the framing here. Made these the full 24 inches width. And then for those of you that don't work with wood a lot, when you do that, you have to subtract your 1.5 inches or so to get these pieces to fit in between, like that. So I'm going to start assembling this unit and show you how to put one of these together. Give you a couple tips along the way for those of you that don't work with wood a whole lot. Tip number 1, pre-cut everything. Get all your sizes, all your measurements together, do all your math. And if you pre-cut everything, have it there, it's real quick and easy to assemble. As you'll see, this will only take me about 5 or 10 minutes at the most. One other little tip for you: when you're working with thin lumber like this, and you're going to be using longer screws to assemble it, a lot of times you want to pre-drill it, because if you don't, and you use too long of screws, it'll split the wood, break it, then you got to get another piece of wood and start over again. So, start over here where you can see what I'm doing. And you just mate your corners here. Pre-drill your hole. Now if you don't have multiple drills like I do, of course you can always use the same drill and just change the heads out. Pretty quick and easy to do. Impact drill pulls it together nice, makes it nice and tight. So what we'll do is we'll repeat that with all 4 corners. Being that these are just 1x2, you really only need 1 screw in each corner to hold it together. Once you screw everything together, it will make everything strong enough where you can carry it around and it'll stay together. So, all right, 2 corners. Very important, don't try to get in a hurry. I know I make this look easy, but I've built several of these, so I already knew what I was doing. If you've not done it before, take your time. The old measure twice, cut once. Well, drill once, and you don't have to drill again. All right, so there we are. There's frame number 1. Is put together, and as you can see, we've got a nice frame here. It's not exactly square, but we will fix that in a minute. Now, what we want to do is take our first piece of pegboard. They have a rough side and a shiny side. I'll typically put the shiny side in, so that'll be the rough side up here. And what you'll want to do is just start at one side, get it lined up as close as you can get it to the edges and everything. And then we'll screw it down, and then you can adjust the other side for square as you go. Determine which side you want to be the bottom so you can flush it. So if you have any extra, it's just hanging off the top here. So we're going to flush we're going to use the factory edge here and flush it because we know it's a good square corner. Now what we want to do is we want to take these little 3/4 inch screws here. These are 8 by 3/4. They work real well for holding this down. The head is not quite big enough for you to go into the pegboard holes. They will pull through. So typically you'll not want to use the pegboard holes. You'll want to go in between the pegboard holes. So let's come out here on the edge. I typically will pin my corners, making sure everything is straight out here on the outside. Sometimes you get a little bit of a twist like I have here. You just need to take that out, make sure everything's as kind of square and straight as you can keep it. you got your two corners pinned over here. Now the fun part, squaring this bad boy up. Get your screw started there. And you'll want to push it and make sure it's straight on the same edge that you started your corner from. That will square it up to the pegboard. Keep it nice and tight. Snug her down. And then repeat. So the trick is not to drive the screws down so far that they bust the pegboard or they bust your frame or anything like that. So you want to stay away from your corners. Don't screw it right down in the corner because the wood's weak in the corner. So what you'll come through here and just do is like a 5 pattern. One in each corner, one in the middle, and then split it again on each side in the middle. And that will be plenty sufficient to hold all this together. I'd do that top and bottom. You can always add more screws. So if on the long side, the 42-inch side, 5 doesn't seem like it's enough, you can always go back and add more. Now, of course, I've got a nice shop here to work in because I do this for a living. You may not. You can do this in your living room. You can do it in your garage. You can do it on the front porch. You can do it in the back porch. You just want to make sure if you're cutting wood, you're doing it outside. All right, so here's side number 1 completed. As you can see, nice frame, screwed on in the back. You'll simply paint this. You can spray paint it, you can hand paint it. It's not going to matter. It will definitely take a couple of coats. This doesn't like to take paint very well, but you definitely have to do it at least a couple times. So this will be your inside. The other side will be your back. We're going to take a little break while I assemble the other side, and then I'll show you how to put everything together. Alright, so we've got both sides here. As you can see, 1, 2, identical sides. What we'll want to do is put them together. So we'll just stack them up here. This is where you'll need your assistant. I have clamps. That's what I normally use because I don't have an assistant. But today I have a beautiful assistant, our daughter Jaden. Jaden, come on, beautiful assistant. Our beautiful assistant Jaden is going to help us out today. So what you want to do is just squeeze those together, keep them together really well right there. You want to make sure they're flush top and bottom. This right here doesn't matter as much because the hinge will flush itself. All right, your beautiful assistant's holding that. You want to grab your tape measure and just kind of make sure you're about the same distance top and bottom, which is going to be about 6 inches, something like that. Okay, with this particular hinge. So, what we'll want to do is hold it very still. You want to make sure you're putting that hinge, the old man kicks in. You want to make sure you're putting this hinge directly in the middle of the two, okay? And there again, we're going to do what I call pinning it. We're going to put 1 screw at the top and then 1 screw at the bottom to hold everything in place. So, hinge is in the middle. That one's pinned. Make sure we're squeezing these together. Now if the screw will cooperate, there we go. Alright. Alright, so that one's good. Same thing here. I want to make sure the hinge is dead in the middle. The hinge is nice and straight and rigid, so once it's in place, it will stay. That one's good. And there we go. Alright, so now we're pinned. So our beautiful assistant will continue to hold that. Let's make sure everything is nice and straight, and it is. I usually go to the middle next so you don't get any kind of a bow or warping effect. Throw you a couple in there. And we will finish screwing this hinge in, and then we'll come back, show you how to put on the handles and the latches. Okay, so we've got our hinge installed. This is what's known as a piano hinge. Very long, it's all one big hinge. So they sell these at Lowe's. This one's a 30-inch. They don't sell, that's the longest one they sell at Lowe's. You really don't need it to go from end to end. You could do a 6-inch piano hinge and a 6-inch piano hinge, The only problem with that is if they're not exactly lined up, you may get a little bit of a twisting issue. So the one long hinge here in the middle works fantastic. Now, we've determined that this is our hinge side, our bottom is over here, so we're going to stand this case up. This is what it's going to look like. And it just opens and closes as far as you need it to for it to go on your table. This one's nice and high, so you can get your long necklaces in and stuff like that. So what we're going to do next is going to show you how to install the latches and the handles. We'll do the latch first. You're going to want the handle, even though this will be a little awkward because they're so tall, you're going to want the handle up here on top because you can't carry it from the sides. If you do, you flip it off, all your jewelry will fall off. So, but you do need it to latch right here on this side, so we're going to show you how to install the latch. Not terribly difficult. It's a little tricky sometimes. You want to be about in the middle. There again, if you're a stickler, you can get your tape measure out. We can see 24 is right about there. So, these are lockable. We don't necessarily lock them, but they are lockable. So, what we'll want to do here is it'll line up like that. So, this part being the wider of the two, see it takes up almost your whole 1x2 there. This we'll want to definitely pre-drill just to make sure we don't split anything out, and we'll use these little screws that come with it. We'll set this first, and then we'll show you how to set the other side. Alright, so we've got our drill for pre-drilling, we've got our other drill with the Phillips head on it, we've got our little screws. So what we're going to do is we're going to just center this thing up, so we try not to split the wood either way we go. It's a little trickier than it looks. Just like I said, take your time. If you haven't done this a few times, just take your time, be careful. A little trick with this, if you do it one screw at a time, you don't necessarily have to line both those holes up perfectly. So you get your first screw in, get it started, don't set it tight. See, now you've got the ability to kind of line this thing up where you want it. Get it, straight as you can make it go. Maybe angle your pre-drill back in a little bit from the edge so you try not to split the wood. Luckily, these screws are really small. That little pre-drill hole will be great for them. It'll set right in there. Magnetic Phillips head tip is a great idea. If you don't have magnetic tips, get one. They're a lifesaver. Okay, that's snug down. Now, comes the fun part. This latch, it has a little tang on one side. That's the side that this locks onto and locks in underneath. So what you want to make sure you do is put that to the outside. Now, normally I would have my assistant here holding this, but since I don't, I'll hold it. What you want to do is you'll want to line it up so that it just clears and latches on. Now you can go ahead and latch it on, pull it this way, make it nice and tight where it would be so to keep it good and tight. And there again, you'll want to pre-drill your hole. Alright. Set our screw in there. There again, this is a little easier with an assistant or clamps, whichever you have access to. I have both, but yet I'm still doing it by myself. Call me crazy. Alrighty. Doesn't have to be perfectly plumb and level and square, because it's just a latch. It unlatches, opens up, put it together, latches right back over, locks in. There you go, your case latches. Now, last little bit. This one's a little trickier because you're putting your handle on. These screws are made to go all the way through. So, the trick with that is going to be this. You will have to change your drill bit because the drill bit that we've got in here for pre-drilling is not going to be big enough. You need to select a drill bit that is just a shade bigger than the actual screw. So this one is just a bit bigger than the actual screw. There you go. So there again, you want to take your tape measure, center up, and grab my pencil. Right there. Center up at 12 inches. All this is getting painted, so any pencil marks you put on here, not going to hurt it. Now, very important, do not put this from one side of the case to the other. Because if you do, you won't be able to open the case. I've done it. So, center yourself up there. Easy way to do this is just figure out how far apart your holes are. These are 5 1/8, it would appear. Actually, they're right at 5 inches. So that's 2.5 inches back each direction from your center point. 2.5, 5 inches. Take your bigger drill bit, motor in your drill, put it in the center, all the way through. There again, all the way through. Now, I usually go to the trouble to lower this out a little bit, just for the simple fact, if you didn't line them up exactly right, that gives you a little bit of playing room. Now, we want to unlatch the case because we need to come from the inside here, and it comes with 2 different length screws. That one's obviously pretty long. This may be a better selection for us. Yes, it barely goes through, it'll just catch it. So what we want to do is just get it started in our handle, so we're not getting it down tight anywhere. Get our other one, and make sure we're going to somewhat line up here. And scary enough, it works. Then we can snug her down, maybe, or not. This one's not cooperating. So, and that's it. Tighten her down, you're done. Then you'll just want to actually take the handle back off because you don't want the handle on there while you're painting it. So, but if you've already got all your holes made and everything, then all you got to do is paint it, put everything back on, you're ready to go.